There is an endless sea of podcasts about entrepreneurship. Talking about it, but not living it. We live it every day. This is Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle, talking about real estate investing, but also encompassing general subjects in regards to owning small to medium-sized businesses. And of course, all the struggles that business owners must overcome to be successful. This is Inside the Wolf's Den. And this is Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle.
Hey everybody, welcome back. And we got a great episode this week. It's been a good week so far. So
yeah, it has been.
Big announcement was Monday. Joni was honored with the Housing Wires magazine's 2020 Women of Influence Awards. So congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm actually humbled and honored to be as one of the top influencers in the industry, the real estate industry, amongst amazing, talented women out there. So it's an honor. And also, I mean, you were my number one cheerleader and fan out there, and I couldn't have done it without you and Brett back here and my amazing staff. So thanks to everybody.
Yes, so it was exciting. We got a press release coming today out of it.
Yeah.
And so it's been a successful week, and it's good for you, your brand, and recognition, and good for the company.
Yeah.
And so it's all because of them too. They have a big influence on this as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just got out of the eye doctor, so it's been I cannot see
a thing.
and the lights and everything are like blinding me. So
how many fingers am I holding up?
Yeah, I'm not going to go there. I can see far. I just can't see up close. So fully dilated. If you guys see that in the camera. There's this funny story to this, because there's several fears in life, and someone named two of mine. So I fear snakes, and most people fear like the dentist or something like that. I fear the eye doctor. So I hate the eye exams or the eye charts. I can never. I've had glasses since I was in first grade, so it's one of those things like I'm going to find out I have. To reassure or tell me again that I have bad vision or can't see, and then they're like, "What's the smallest line you can see?" And then I try to say it, and I can't. It looks all blurry. And they're like, "Well, here, let me change it. I mean, what about this one?" And they're, "Oh, let's go a little bit bigger." And everything still looks blurry, so they make me feel a
It's
little
okay,
inadequate.
babe. I'll take care of you when you go blind.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm driving Mr. whatever, not Daisy, but.
Yeah, don't worry. I got your back.
Sunflower or something. Anyways, so totally off subject. But today we're going to talk about changing the narrative and controlling the outcome. Mm-hmm. I think this is so important and something that we're constantly working at. We're not perfect at this, and we're constantly telling each other to want to change the narrative or change the story.
Yeah.
Especially
right now, with social media, it seems like, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners feel the same way, when you're on social media, it's like you scroll and you see all these, negative posts, and, the first thought that comes to my mind is, what are you doing about it, right? Like change your story. Because the truth is we're going to believe our thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm. So, you're right either way. You're right if you don't believe it, or if you're right if you give yourself negative thoughts, and you're right if you speak the positive or change the narrative on it. So either way, you're going to be right.
Yeah.
And
oftentimes I think we limit ourselves by deciding what we can't do even before we try it, right?
Yeah. So the using words like can't.
Oh gosh, yeah. The word can't is in our household. Number one, you should remove the word can't out of your vocabulary altogether. In our household, I know our kids aren't allowed to say can't. They'll go to the room and, okay, tell me 5 ways how you can do things.
Correct. And we're not perfect at this. They every once in a while, like especially one of our daughter would be like, I can't do it. Well, no, let's look at this and let's examine it, and let's. But we really strive to not have them use the word can't. But it's just negative talk. this might sound like I'm crazy or something, but we all, and if you really truly believe it and become more self-aware, you hear the the negative conversations you have with yourself, and some are positive. Don't get me wrong. Like there's some positive people, and that's what we're trying to change, is like changing it to a positive story rather than looking at the negative and hearing those voices in your head saying you're not
good enough. You're not smart enough, or
you're too young, or you don't have enough money, or you aren't good looking enough. It might be trying to pick up a date at the bar, and that voice telling you in your mind,
I can't do that. You can't do it.
Yeah,
go home.
She won't look at you, or she's not going to be good enough for you. So it worked for me. So it's kind of like there's hope out there for a lot of people. But I mean, you change the story, you change the talk that you're having in your head, and a lot of it comes down to just being fully aware or self-aware of those conversations you're having, and change it. Like, no, that's not necessarily true. Like, I have a lot going for me. I have a great job or run a great business. I am athletic and I take care of myself, and I have a great sense of humor or something like that. And you can approach somebody, and I'm talking about dating, but and I'm the last person to talk about dating, but you get what I'm saying. Like I get what,
I think the first step is quit telling yourself the disempowering, stories, and I catch myself. And it's funny how you say, being more self-aware of it, because, if you're not aware of it and you have to have somebody tell you that, is one thing. But once you start catching your own, when you start to fall into that, oh, poor me mentality, or the negative self-talk, I quickly, and this is just by learning over the years, that I can quickly, okay, Joni, you take a step back for a second. Whoa, like you need to be a little bit more positive.
And change it and change the outcome. And this can be in business. Like, so a great example of all this was, throughout the pandemic and COVID, we've been really self-aware, because for like, and still is today, like especially with social media, a lot of the news, everything's extremely negative, like just everything. And like you watch that or you listen to it long enough, you start believing some of that stuff and start giving into it. And if I'm even capable, like the more I'm on, especially in the first, like I would say, month of COVID, it was like everything was negative. I was starting to think like the world's ending, like everything's going to fall apart and all that. But it's like, no, let's step back. Let's really look at it. Let's examine everything. And then let's really look at the facts, and then let's change that story. And so like in our companies, we're very conscious of our words that we use and what we said to our staff. And, we're not preaching or saying things that would lead to a negative tone or lead to them doubting or them having doubts about the company or where we're headed, because you start putting those fears in them,
they can also, you put fear in them.
And so we would always watch what we said, and then we started to say, you know what, let's change this, let's take advantage of this, or let's use this opportunity to grow, or let's use this to, while everybody else is distracted and frustrated and all this is going on and not sure, well, let's take advantage. Let's be more united. Let's be more focused, and let's grow on this. So we would speak about, hitting your sales numbers, hitting your KPIs, staying on top of everything, just preaching to change the story that there might be a negative, but let's focus on what we can do today.
What you can control.
Correct. And it's had a huge impact. We growing faster than we actually planned at the beginning of the year, which is crazy.
And the team is behind us 100%. I mean, they're coming up with their own ideas, and like, this is, what we can do to, change it to make it better. I mean, they're excited about it. Yeah.
And so it's been, also with sales, like I know a lot of people, we were in real estate. So a lot of our sales, it got really like sketchy there for a while, like what's going to happen with sales, or things going to plump, just fall off a cliff. But we changed the narrative, like, stay, now interest rates are lower than they've ever been. Now, if you're in for a buy and hold and you're in this for the long term, like your plan shouldn't change.
Right.
And so we started to, like, in our sales, we would start to work that into the language that, hey, it's a great time to buy. Interest rates are lower than they've ever been. If you're getting a long-term locked-in 30-year mortgage, what does it matter the next couple of years? As long as the rent's going to be there, you're going to get that return that you're expecting. It's a great time to buy. It's a great time you're with a great partner that's going to help you with the assets and the property management side of it. Now's a great time to take advantage and buy. So we started just changing what we say and what we practice, what we preach, and it dramatically changed the story and the outcome in our business.
Right. And so some of the I guess, steps to rewrite your story. Number one, examine your habits. And I think once you've identified the negative ones, you can create, better ones.
So, and it's again, being self-aware. And that's your number two is being self-aware. And this takes practice. It's not overnight. No. I notice when I'm tired, hungry, whatever the Snickers commercial.
You need a bar, a Snickers bar.
Yeah. I tend to be less self-aware. And I tend to give into that negative thought and pattern more, especially when I'm tired.
Yeah.
So if I get my rest, get proper nutrition, get my water in, all that, I seem to do a lot better with as far as controlling that narrative.
Yeah. And for me, it's, meditating and even journaling, and working out. Like whenever, I'm stressed out, like my time is just going to the gym and doing some cardio or lifting some weights. That's how I
relieve the stress.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great way. And meditation, in the morning, my morning routine that helps me, and starting the morning with gratitude.
That's a big one. Yeah, gratitude.
You're starting the day off with the thoughts in your head and the things you're thinking of with more positive tones and positive thoughts, and it creates positive stories or narratives throughout the day in your head.
Something that I used to do, I don't do it anymore, and I should get back into this. I would have thank you cards on my desk. And anytime like I felt like somebody empowered me or I just wanted to express gratitude, every morning I would take out a card and just thank somebody on my team or out in the community, whatever. I mean, it feels so good to the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning is express gratitude.
Yeah. And I think along those lines, as far as like when you're meditating or when you're doing some self-evaluation, I think when you're hearing those negative thoughts, you can validate them or not. So like one of the points you had here is look for, ask people that you can trust. They're going to give you an honest opinion for their perspective. So they can, you got to trust them. You got to make sure that they're people that are not just negative and they're going to give you the right response you want.
Exactly. And then also with that, be willing to listen to that, because it might not always be, what you're looking for or positive. Maybe it's something that you need to work on. And you have to be willing to, open up to criticism, for that.
And validate that those, even the people's perspective that they give you, I still take it with a grain of salt and just evaluate and make sure that what they're telling me is still factual and the thoughts that I'm thinking are factual and are they true or just me just saying that, and it's hard, but it's not easy all the time. And sometimes you have to face reality and realize that, hey, you know what, maybe it is right. And I need to change and I need to do something about it, but at least you're
validate, but verify.
And then practice every day, put this into action.
So once you have narrowed down what you need to work on, I mean, we talked about this on one of the other podcasts, practice. That's how you get better.
Exactly. Spend time with positive or influential people they're going to change your way of thinking. I think this is huge. Again, watch your sphere of influence.
That's I think extremely important, because I mean, just one, negative person could, just change your mindset and just make you moody and unhappy, and it's not worth it. I mean, I don't hang out with anybody that is negative. You'll find that about me is, I don't associate with people that are going to bring me down.
Yeah, it's the total opposite. People that are going to not only provide you positive feedback or be real with you, but they're also going to challenge you, I think. And you want people that are going to push you, challenge your mindset to even think bigger. Because the story in your head or the narrative might be that you're thinking too small.
Right.
And that person might say, you know what, you need to change that story. Rather than say, like your story might be, I need to do $1,000 this week or make $1,000 this week. But they might say, you know what, you can actually do $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 this week. And so you need somebody's going to push you and challenge you and cause you to maybe even think bigger, which again, changes the outcome.
Yeah.
And then along those lines, the last point was just it was along those lines, taking more risk, pushing yourself,
Get
getting
uncomfortable.
Yeah. Because one of the stories you might be telling yourself is, I can't speak in front of people. Or I think this another one of those podcasts we had about challenging yourself. But you might say, like, I'm not a good public speaker. I'm not good in front of speaking with. But that's something that's totally in your head that you're just telling yourself, because that's something that you can overlearn. You might suck at it at the beginning. You might be awful at it, but you can change that narrative. You can start saying, you know what? I might not be great at this, but I can learn, or I can challenge myself. And then
I can practice every day at it.
And you can take classes and then start putting yourself in opportunities to speak in front of people and do it, and just get uncomfortable, challenge yourself, and then change that narrative to all of a sudden where you once thought, I'm horrible in front of people, and all of a sudden 2 years down the road, you're now getting speaking. You're speaking engagement. You're in speaking engagements. You're talking in front of people. And it's all because you changed the story or changed the narrative. So we'd love to hear some feedback, and can't wait to see what changes you're going to make in your life by changing the story, changing the narrative, and controlling the outcome. So I think we're just going to end it with controlling the outcome by controlling the narrative.
That's awesome. Stay positive, my friends.
All right. Have a great week, everybody.
See ya.
You've been listening to Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle. Tons of entrepreneurial podcasts are out there. Talking. But Joni and Shawn are living it every single day. Their portfolio now includes many franchises and medium-sized businesses. We talk about the trials and motivators of successfully running a business. Join us again soon for another podcast. But until then, reach out on the website at InsideTheWolfsDen.com, on Facebook at Inside the Wolf's Den, on Instagram at Inside the Wolf Den. We'll see you again soon. This is Inside the Wolf's Den. We'll see you next time.